Campbell says he wants to leave Houston after being taken out in last week's embarrassing loss to Cincinnati. And that statement has been the big story in the Houston area all week long. This has been a miserable year for the Oilers, whose record is now 0-10. And in his 5th game as interim head coach, Chuck Studley is still trying to come up with a plan to break the Oilers' long losing streak. But thanks to the return of a healthy Billy Sims, the Lions have a streak of their own, winning 4 of their last 5 games. And despite rumors of him jumping to the USFL, Sims now finds himself as more of a vocal team leader. On defense, the Lions have the 2 best quarterback sackers in the NFC, All-Pro Doug English and defensive end William Gay. Today, it's the Oilers and Lions from the Astrodome. John Dockery, and there is a great deal of confusion in this part of the country, John, because fans and players alike still can't figure out why, with a great deal of talent, Houston has a record of 0-10.
Houston is better than they've played, and to prove that, they've lost 3 games in overtime. They lost to Pittsburgh by a mere touchdown, but their role now is strictly that of a spoiler.
And while the Oilers are going home at the end of the season, the Detroit Lions hopes their year will continue, because with a victory today, they could be tied for first place in the division.
And you know, it's interesting. They've been doing that without a big year from Billy Sims. He has yet to get 100 yards, but I expect a big one today because Houston is the worst defense against the run in the NFL. And if Detroit does win and Green Bay beats Minnesota, we'll have a 3-way tie in the NFC Central. So it's Detroit thinking playoffs, Jim, and Houston looking for its first victory.
Well, there's one good omen already for Houston Oilers fans. The Oilers have won the toss and decided to receive. Michael Black kicking off for the Detroit Lions. As we mentioned, the Lions still looking for a playoff spot in the NFC Central Division. The Oilers just looking for a win, period. And our ball game is underway. A squib kick right down the middle. Picked up in return to about the 28-yard line by Bob Rubick. And you know, John, it's kind of a strange thing that's going on right now because Oliver Luck is replacing Gifford Nielsen, and he's a starting quarterback. He's getting his first start in the NFL, and you just know that he has to have a few goosebumps on him right now.
There you see the starting lineup. Yes, Oliver Luck last week, his first NFL pass was intercepted, but then he did rebound. He threw for over 225 yards and a touchdown, and there you see the offensive line.
All right, so it'll be 1st and 10 for the Houston Oilers at their own 28-yard line. Oliver Luck, the starting quarterback. Earl Campbell starting this afternoon. Luck back to pass. Throws to his left, complete to Mike Renfro.
And Jim, many people thought that the Houston Oilers would run the ball. You saw they were in a 1-back offense with Earl Campbell, but in order to build the confidence of Oliver Luck, he wants to throw short passes, complete them, and build that confidence. You'll see a lot of screens today, a lot of short passing. We'll also see Earl Campbell running the ball from the 1-back offense.
Bruce McNorton coming in and making the tackle then. There's a look at the Lions defense. English and Gay, the 2 big men up front, they're all pros. Cobb, Fantetti, and Williams, the linebackers. Watkins, McNorton, Hall, and Graham, the people in the secondary. 2nd down. Flag on the play. A little bit of confusion on the part of both teams. Doug English, it looked like, jumped offsides just a little bit there for the Detroit Lions. Bob Frederick, the referee for today's game, and as you saw the signal, offside against Detroit.
Doug English is always intense, always active. There he comes from the right side of your screen. He's on Luck before he ever gets a chance, but he was offside, jumped the gun.
Number 78 on the defense, offside, 1st down.
1st and 10 for the Houston Oilers at their own 40-yard line. Ball game just getting underway here in the Astrodome in Houston, Texas. The Oilers going against the Detroit Lions. Oliver Luck getting his first start in the NFL. 2nd-year man from West Virginia. Luck hands off to Earl Campbell, coming to the right side. And coming up making the tackle is number 33, William Graham, the fine safety. And it's kind of a strange thing about Graham. He has 72 tackles, 72 solo tackles already.
Well, it's the guys, they play a 4-3 defense, and they rely on the linebackers and the strong safety to fill those holes. That time Graham came up quickly to knock Earl Campbell off his feet.
And it was a loss of about 2 yards. Yard and a half, actually. So let's call it 2nd and 11 from the Oiler 39-yard line. Campbell still the lone setback as the Oilers are going with 3 wide receivers. Luck back to pass, rolling to his left, pulls up, feels a little pressure, throwing back to Campbell, who drops the ball. Earl Campbell, who last week said that he thought that he should be traded. He wanted to get out of Houston after he was benched or taken out of the game in the embarrassing loss to the Cincinnati Bengals, has had a great deal of pressure on him this week, I would believe.
An awful lot of pressure, and his posture in practice was one of almost a beaten man, a depressed running back.
So Campbell goes out and Donnie Kraft comes in. 3rd down and 11 from the 39-yard line. The Oilers now have 2 backs in the backfield, and now they go to the shotgun. Luck all by himself. Bill Gay jumps off sides but gets back. However, the flags go down. Pass across the middle, and it is complete. Timmy Smith, number 83, the leading receiver for the Houston Oilers, makes the catch. Bruce McNorton, number 29, brought him down. Here's a signal from Bob Frederick. Offsides again.
And you can see, excuse me, Jim, you can see the Detroit Lions are really eager. What they're worried about today is a letdown against a team that hasn't won in 17 outings. 0-10, of course. Houston this year, they lost 7 in a row last year. Listen for the call.
Defense, number 79, offside. 3rd down.
On the other side of that coin, Jim, though, I can't emphasize how important this first drive is for Houston. They have that losing mentality, a losing mindset. They must establish something early, or else it could be a long afternoon for them.
And so it's been a couple of offside penalties by the Detroit Lions. It's kept them into it. Luck back in shotgun position. 3rd down, back to pass. Pumps once, pumps twice, throws down the middle of the field, complete to Mike Renfro. Renfro brought down by William Graham. And there's big Doug France, number 77, getting into it with McNorton and Alvin Hall. Good for 13 yards. And, you know, you get the feeling, as you talked about just a little while ago, John, that the Oilers know that this first drive is very important to them.
So important. I mean, they're 0-10. They're looking for the light of day. It's so miserable when you're losing in pro football. Nothing goes right for you. I think Chuck Studley said it very well yesterday. Everyone knows who the best team in the NFL is, the Dallas Cowboys, Washington Redskins. They also know who the worst team in the NFL is, the Houston Oilers. That's motivation enough.
Sure is. Campbell is back in the game now. He's a solo back. 1st and 10 now for the Oilers. Luck pitches back to Campbell, coming to the near sideline. Earl going upfield, picking up a couple of yards. Brought down by Gary Cobb, number 53, the left outside linebacker, and Ken Fantetti.
You know, Jim, you mentioned before about Earl Campbell being angry and unhappy. He said, and I quote after the game, "They treated me like a dog last week." He was upset, all the frustration of losing. But I had to laugh when some people were saying, will Earl Campbell run hard today? Will he put out, will he produce? Folks, that's Earl Campbell, all-pro, a man with tremendous pride.
You can believe he will put out today. 2nd down and 4 from the Detroit Lions 34-yard line. Campbell the lone setback for the Houston Oilers. Oliver Luck handing off to Campbell, going up the middle. Picking up just a couple of yards, Doug English, the fine defensive tackle, the all-pro tackle for the Detroit Lions, in on the tackle.
And it's interesting to watch Oliver Luck early. Now remember, he got his first NFL start today. He played only 3 quarters last week in a terrible game against Cincinnati. He did reasonably well, but it's important to establish something here. The reason he's starting and Gifford Nielsen is on the bench is his increased mobility. He's also a very intelligent quarterback.
And we got to look at that a little while ago when he scrambled around and completed a pass to Renfro. All right, 3rd and 1 on the 35-yard line of the Detroit Lions. Hand off to Campbell, comes to the right side, knocked down right at the 35-yard line. The Lions playing great defense.
What an excellent play by William Graham, number 33 for Detroit. Came underneath the block and upended Earl Campbell. If he hit him high, Earl would have fell forward for the 1st down. Now they're about a yard short.
On 4th down, and you hear the sprinkling of crowd reaction here at the Astrodome telling the Oilers to go for it, and you might as well.
You might as well start something. You must start the ball rolling. Right now it's rolling backwards against the Houston Oilers. They have to change momentum. This is an attempt at doing that.
Everything to gain and nothing to lose. 4th and 1 for the Houston Oilers. On the line, 35-yard line. Hand off to Campbell. He gets the 1st down. Doug English again in on the tackle for the Detroit Lions.
And they ran behind those 2 big rookies on the right side of the young Oiler offensive line. number 74, Bruce Matthews, and Harvey Salem. Salem is 264 pounds, a big horse, and of course Earl Campbell, all 240 pounds of him, is a battering ram. He gets the first down. Good call by Studley.
You know, we were talking to Coach Studley yesterday at the Oilers training camp, and he was telling us that the Oilers do indeed have a good offensive line.
Young and growing, and that's one of the reasons they hope they can keep Earl Campbell here. He's asked to be traded. He hopes that won't happen. Obviously, he is the franchise.
1st and 10 at the 33. Renfro in motion. Toss back to Campbell. Coming to the right side. Stops, slips just a little bit, and is dropped for a couple of yards loss. Mike Dawson, number 73, and William Gay, number 79, in on the tackle. 9 minutes and 28 seconds left here in the first quarter. No score, as the Houston Oilers have taken the opening kickoff and have marched the length of the field trying to score.
Watch the activity. You see English on the center there occupying 2 men. Fantetti overruns it slightly, but the pursuit gets Earl Campbell on the cutback. A very active defense, not a dominant defense. They'll bend, but they won't break.
2nd and 11 from the 34-yard line of the Detroit Lions. Campbell again, the lone setback. Luck back to pass. Looks to his left. Throws to Campbell in the flat. Here should be some action. Campbell gets by Jimmy Williams. But he can't get away from Mike Fantetti and 2 other tacklers for the Detroit Lions. And that's one of the things that Campbell is going to do this afternoon. The Oilers' hope is catch the ball a little bit more, because he's only caught 10 passes so far this year.
He's not a great pass receiver out of the backfield. They haven't used him that much. It's certainly a changeup and a good idea, and it also builds confidence for Oliver Luck. The more completions, the better he feels about himself.
So the Oilers have kept the ball here. 8 minutes and 30 seconds left in the first period. And as you mentioned at the top of our broadcast, it is so important for Houston to get something going early in the ball game to build up confidence in a miserable season. 3rd and 7 from the 30-yard line. Shotgun formation. Oliver Luck, the quarterback. Back to pass. Looks to his left. Plenty of time. Throws right down the middle. Almost intercepted. Dan Wagner knocked the ball away for the Detroit Lions, as the Lions were in their nickel defense.
And Jim, a quarterback cannot hold the ball that long and throw it up that softly over the middle. Oliver Luck does not have the strongest arm in the world. That time he saw his receiver open for a moment. He didn't drill it in there. He laid it up. Could have been intercepted very easily.
So now it's 4th and 7. Florian Kemp is in to attempt a field goal. It will be a 47-yard attempt. Ball will be placed at the 37-yard line. John James holding. Snap, placement, the kick. Flags are down, and it is good. There are a couple of flags on the play. 47-yard field goal attempt by Florian Kemp is good. Let's see what the infraction is on the field. Illegal procedure against the Detroit Lions. So let's see what the Oilers decide to do.
There were 12 men on the defense. The foul will be refused, and the 3 points are good.
All right, so Florian Kemp kicks a 47-yard field goal. The Houston Oilers take the opening kickoff and end up with a 3-point lead, 3-0 over the Detroit Lions. And John, that's one of the things that the Oilers wanted to do.
And the reason they took the penalty, wouldn't have given them the first down. So, of course, they took the sure 3 points. They lead early here in the Astrodome, looking for their first victory.
I'll tell you, trying to get cultured isn't easy. We just went to the opera, and we didn't understand a word.
Yeah, but that big guy in those tights sure could sing.
Well, at least we still drink a very civilized beer. Light beer from Miller. Light tastes great.
But us impresarios drink it because it's less filling.
We can't afford to get filled up. Tomorrow night, we're going to the ballet.
Yeah, I sure hope they do it in English.
Me too.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Pontiac. It's been called one of the most innovative American cars ever. Its unique Enduraflex body panels resist minor dents and will never rust. Introducing Pontiac Fiero, America's first mid-engine production car. Fiero, a brilliant example of Pontiac innovation in action. Fiero, only from Pontiac.
We build excitement. Pontiac.
Back at the Astrodome, Well, the Houston Oilers lead the Detroit Lions 3-0. Florian Kemp getting set to kick off for the Oilers. And back deep for the Detroit Lions, Ken Jenkins, and number 83, Robbie Martin. And it will be Jenkins at the 5-yard line. Jenkins loses the ball. Let's see who comes up with it.
It looks like Detroit has come up with it, Jim, and they dodged the bullet right there. Remember, and they said it to us, all of the Detroit Lions said, this team may be down, but if you let them up at all, boy, they're liable to come back and beat us, and we can't let that happen. We're thinking playoffs.
And Jenkins, who lost the ball, made his own fumble recovery. And oh, what a big break that would have been for the Houston Oilers. So, for the Detroit Lions, their first possession of the afternoon, 7 minutes, 51 seconds left here in the first period. 1st and 10 from their own 30-yard line. There's a look at the Lion offensive attack, their good offensive line.
Billy Sims looking for that first 100-yard game of the year.
Eric Hipple, starting quarterback for the Lions. Norris in motion. Toss back to Sims. Darts to the outside. Gets by a couple of tacklers and knocked out of bounds by Carter Hardwick, number 36.
And it was interesting talking to Billy Sims coming back to Texas and how he felt about it.
You know, Billy says that he always plays well when he comes to Texas. And what did he call this particular part of the country?
He called it Mother Earth,
oh,
as though there was something in the air that was magic that would inspire him. And he said he expected to have a good performance. And remember, then he turned around on the bench and knocked on wood.
That's it.
Billy Sims excited about being back. Monty Clark hoping that he's going to have a big game. He hasn't had one yet.
2nd and 7 from the 34-yard line. Hipple hands off to Sims again. Cuts up through the middle. Picks up a nice couple of yards right there. Tackled by Bob Abraham, number 56 of the Houston Oilers. So Billy Sims, one of the premier running backs in the National Football League. There's a defensive line for the Houston
two
Oilers.
rookie defensive linemen starting, and that's the linebackers. Of course, you all know Robert Brazil, 7 times All-Pro. Greg Bigham, very active. A young secondary. They start 2 rookies in Brown and Bostic in that secondary.
And you would think that the Lions would try to exploit that they do have those young people in the secondary. 3rd and 2 from the 39-yard line. Hipple to Sims again. Close for the first down. At about the 41-yard line. Tackle there made by Greg Bingham.
Jim, you mentioned about exploiting that secondary, that young Houston secondary. Well, they will do that after they try running the ball as they get that first down, because this Houston defense is the worst in the NFL against the run. They give up close to 185 yards in the ground. So most teams that try to run the ball, they haven't even bothered to throw it. And of course, with Billy Sims as excited and enthusiastic about this game as he is, I think we'll see Detroit run the ball as they're doing.
And it was enough for the first down. 1st and 10 from the 41-yard line. 5:50 left here in the first period. Houston leading 3-0. Again, the toss back to Billy Sims. Breaks to the right side. Picked up a couple of yards. Tackled there by number 90, Bob Ham, and number 53, Avon Riley. Interesting story about Bob Ham of the Houston Oilers. He's a free agent rookie, and Chuck Studley was telling us yesterday he's very pleased with his performance so far. Yes,
he definitely is. If we take a look here, watch the defense. They're going to try and keep Sims inside. He likes to run off tackle and dart around. There, that quick movement. He's so good on the turf. He's like a mosquito on the loose. Bing, bing. He's all over the place. And this is a very young defensive team for the Houston Oilers.
Pick up of 3 yards, 2nd and 7 from the 44. Hipple back to pass. Number 56, Bob Abraham. So the Oilers coming through with the blitz, something that they have not been doing much so far this year, and I think they caught the Detroit Lions by surprise.
Houston does not have the big players on either offense or defense, therefore you have to do some things you might not want to do. Here they come with the blitz. Hipple, a fairly mobile quarterback, cannot get away from Robert Abraham.
Loss of 10 yards, so it will be 3rd and 17 from the Detroit Lions 34-yard line.
Jim, I think you put it in a nutshell. Houston has absolutely nothing to lose. Pull out all the stops. Send those linebackers blitz.
Passing situation, obviously, for Detroit. Hipple back in shotgun formation. And there are flags before the ball is snapped.
Last week, Detroit had trouble against the Giants. It certainly wasn't the Mona Lisa of a performance today. A lot of penalties early, both teams tentative.
False start on the right guard and the right tackle for the offense.
And so far, John, we've seen all the penalties go against Detroit. And as we were talking to Monty Clark and some of the other players yesterday, they were talking about this is a dangerous game for them going against a team that, as we mentioned, has nothing to lose. And right now, the Lions, the playoff contending team, is a squad that's making all the mistakes.
And last week, consistency. You mentioned them winning 4 out of the last 5, Detroit, but they've been inconsistent. They had to squeeze by the New York Giants 15-9 last week on Monday night.
3rd and a long 22. Hipple in shotgun formation. Throws to the near sideline. Ball is tipped away by number 33, William Graham. Good play there by the Houston Oilers. And now it'll be 4th down.
Hipple tried to go deep. He doesn't have the strongest arm in the world. No completion. Good play, defensive back to tip it away.
So that was J.C. Wilson. J.C. Wilson knocked the ball away. And the fans here having something to cheer about, which is one of the few things that they've had to cheer about so far this year here in the Astrodome.
Oh, it's been a dismal year. As a matter of fact, the fans, like the fans in Tampa Bay, have been wearing bags over their head the last few weeks. So far, we haven't seen any, but I'm sure if Houston gets behind, the fans will become vocal.
Mike Black back in punt formation. The ever-dangerous Carl Roaches back to receive it for the Oilers. A high, short kick. Roaches, fair catch. And he takes it about the 33-yard line. A punt of 47 yards. So with 4 minutes and 17 seconds left in the first period, it's the Houston Oilers leading the Detroit Lions 3-0.
Pontiac.
Like a burst from the sun, 2000 Sunbird has arrived. Pontiac's overhead cam 5-speed performer. 2000 Sunbird, easy to own, fun to drive. 2000 Sunbird, Pontiac excitement precisely the way you like it. 2000 Sunbird, only from Pontiac.
We build excitement. Pontiac.
Tired of those high fuel prices? Well, guess what? They're not getting any lower. Fight back with the Attic Blanket from Owens Corning. It's the most powerful roll of thermal protection you can buy. Before fuel bills put you in the red, get the Attic Blanket and put your house in the pink. Owens Corning, building products that put your house in the pink.
1st and 10 for the Houston Oilers at their own 33-yard line. They lead the Lions 3-0. The Oilers have 2 tight ends in the ball game now. Earl Campbell, the lone setback. Oliver Luck at quarterback. Hands off to Campbell. Comes to the right side. Picks up, it looks like a yard before he's knocked down by number 53, Gary Cobb.
You can see Earl's going to have his work cut out for him today. He is the back that's going to carry the ball for the Houston Oilers. But if the Houston Oilers are to win today, Jim, they must stay away from the turnovers. They had 7 last week against Cincinnati and losing by 41 points. On the year, they've had a total of almost 35 turnovers, 19 interceptions and 16 fumbles.
No pickup by Campbell in 2nd and 10 from the 33. 3:40 left here in the first period. Luck, play action pass, looks to his left, and is hit by number 79, William Gay. Ball is still bouncing around, and Doug France, number 77, comes up with it. So apparently the ball was still alive as Gay, who looks like he's a little slow to get up, hit Oliver Luck and forced the ball to pop loose. Doug France came on and picked it up, kept possession for the Oilers. And William Gay is a young man who's been out with an ankle injury, and the Lions really need him back. Take a look now on the right side of your screen. William Gay will come with a big outside rush right there. Luck never saw him. Gay gets his 11th sack of the year. He's leading the Lions. Of course, English next to him. Take another look. Luck is looking downfield. He doesn't see Gay, who comes around the backside, gets him from behind him. His arm is coming forward, therefore an incomplete pass. Campbell is out. Donnie Kraft is in. Oliver Luck in shotgun formation. Tim Wilson in motion. Luck back to pass. Throws a little bit high. Bounces around. And it's intercepted. Picked off by number 54, Roosevelt Barnes. Roosevelt Barnes, number 54, second-year man from Purdue, 25 years old, 6'2", 222, comes up with a big play for Detroit. Watch the right side of your screen again, number 78, Doug English this time from the tandem. Gay and English on that backside, gets a hand
right here. He hits him as he's throwing. The ball is tipped. Defensive backs practices all the time. They love to see the ball up in the air. The interception by Detroit, they'll have it when we...
From Pontiac comes the one-of-a-kind 84 Firebird Trans Am. You can order it with aerodynamic ground effects, a high-output 5-liter V8, high-tech turbo wheels, and a close ratio 5-speed. And knowing you, you probably will. Trans Am, only from Pontiac.
We build excitement. Pontiac.
Now you can avoid the high cost of hiring a professional plumber by handling many repairs yourself with professional quality master plumber repair parts and fittings from True Value hardware stores. They come with step-by-step instructions for easy installation. And when you choose master plumber parts and fittings, you can be sure your repairs will last because they're all quality constructed to resist corrosion and wear. Look for them exclusively at participating True Value hardware stores and home centers.
Along with John Dockery, I'm Jim Hill here in Houston, Texas at the Astrodome. 2 minutes, 33 seconds left. And the Houston Oilers lead the Detroit Lions 3-0. And John, you just got through talking about the turnovers, and then there's another one by Houston.
And you know, you always point to the quarterback, the man who gets more praise than he deserves when they win, more of the blame when teams lose. That time he was hit as he was throwing the ball. His protection is breaking down.
1st and 10 for the Detroit Lions at their own 48-yard line. Billy Sims and James Jones in the backfield for the Lions. Toss back to Sims, going to the right. And the Oilers are really stringing the thing out. Sims only picks up a couple of yards before he's tackled by Bob Ham. And let's go to New York now for an update with Brent Musburger.
Jim, the Eagles strike first on the Bears, and it's their all-pro wide receiver, Mike Quick, who gets free from Ron Jaworski here. This is the 9th touchdown of the year for Quick. That Bears secondary, as you know, decimated by injuries. Let's go back to Jim.
Thank you very much, Brent. Eric Hipple back to pass, looking long, going downfield, middle of the field for Ulysses Norris, just a little bit too long. Ulysses Norris, the tight end for the Detroit Lions, was wide open right down the middle of the field, and you know Hippo feels bad about that because he overthrew a sure touchdown.
It's the classic way of attacking that double zone, which basically means the 2 safeties on defense have responsibility for half the field. Now when you send a wide receiver down the sideline, it occupies that safety and leaves the middle open. That time he was wide open for a touchdown. Hippo just overthrew him.
3rd and 9, 1 minute and 50 left here in the first period. Eric Hipple in shotgun formation for the Lions at midfield. Plenty of time to pass, comes to the outside, almost knocked away but complete to Mark Nichols, number 86.
J.C. Wilson just didn't get a jump on the ball that he'd want to get. You know, as a defensive back, Jim, you're reading that quarterback, and boy, when he throws it up, and Hipple does not throw a strong ball here, it kind of has an arch on it. Wilson just didn't get reaction right there. You see him slip a little bit. He tries to get his hand in. Mark Nichols makes a terrific reception to hold on to the ball with J.C. Wilson all over him.
A pickup of 19 yards, 1st and 10 from the Houston Oilers 31-yard line. Sims in motion to the right. Hipple hands off to James Jones. Tries to get to the right side, but there's that swarming defense by the Oilers that's been playing so well this afternoon. Tackle there by number 53, Avon Riley.
Of course, James Jones is the #1 draft choice this year for the Detroit Lions, the rookie out of Florida. And everyone says they compare him to William Andrews. He is the leading receiver. You see his leading rusher for Detroit Lions. You see his stats after so many years. It was only Billy Sims. Now he has a partner in the backfield, and this is potentially one of the best tandems in the NFL, Jones and Sims.
And the Lions certainly want to come back and get something on the scoreboard as they trail 3-0. 1 minute 5 left in the first period. Hipple back to pass. Looks to his left. Goes back to his right. Starts the scramble. Throws. And it is complete. Eric Hipple in shotgun formation does a pretty good job of waiting around and finding his open receiver, Billy Sims, who was in motion, a pickup of 10 yards.
Exactly, Jim. He buys time. He's looking downfield. There was good coverage. Here he feels the pressure, darts out, and you see Billy Sims. Well, he's right between number 54, Bingham, and number 56, Abraham, but Hipple zips it in there for the completion.
So Billy Sims, who has been very active so far this afternoon, is a little short of a first down. It's 3rd and 1 from the Oiler 22-yard line. 30 seconds left. Sims is out. Vince Thompson is in. 2 tight end formation. Hand off to James Jones right up the middle.
And it's fairly obvious what the Detroit Lions want to do. They want to run the ball against the worst defense in the NFL against the rush, the Houston Oilers, and that's exactly what they're doing. Take a look and watch the surge of the offensive line of Detroit. Watch the right side of your screen, right there. And Jones just puts it down, takes it up the middle for the first down.
And that was the last play of the first period. So here in the Houston Astrodome in Houston, Texas, at the end of the first period, it's the Detroit Lions trailing the Houston Oilers 3-0.
The 6000 STE from Pontiac is America's performance sedan. An engineering masterpiece that gives you an amazing command of the road. 6000 STE. Technically advanced, totally satisfying. 6000 STE, only from Pontiac.
We build excitement, Pontiac.
For years now, we've been kidding Jim here about his eyesight. The fact is that Jim has the eyes of an eagle.
Thanks, Boog.
Why, he's one of the first guys to spot light beer from Miller. Saw right away that light tastes great and it's less filling.
Sure, all you have to do is read the label. It says light has 1/3 less calories than a regular beer.
I think you want this, Jim.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
As I was saying, it's as plain as the nose on your face.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Oh, I don't believe this.
If you want it,
I like it.
if you really like it,
I really like it.
we can help you get it. We're GMAC.
We want it.
We're GMAC Financing.
GMAC has helped more people buy their new GM car or truck than anyone, with rates that make sense on models people want, all at your GM dealer.
If you really want it, we can help you get it. We're GMAC Financing.
We got it.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Pontiac. Cars that tell the world you're not just along for the ride. Pontiac, we build excitement. And by light beer from Miller, everything you've always wanted in a beer, and less.
Here at the Astrodome in Houston, Texas, the beginning of the second period. It's the Houston Oilers leading the Detroit Lions 3-0 on a 47-yard field goal. The Lions are threatening right now, threatening to get back in the game and take the lead. 1st and 10 at the Oiler 19-yard line. Nichols in motion for Detroit. Hipple hands off to Billy Sims, breaks up the middle, picks up nice yardage after good blocking before he's knocked backwards. However, he did pick up about 5 or 6 yards there. Tackled by Bob Abraham and Carter Hardwick.
And Billy Sims behind Keith Dorney, the 5th-year man, number 70 out of Penn State, All-Pro, the #1 draft choice back in '79. Sims just powers in there, already carried the ball 6 times for 22 yards. Of course, Billy wants that 100-yard game, and he wants it here at home in Texas. And you know, if the Detroit Lions are going to find the consistency they're looking for, Billy Sims has to be part of it. Green Bay ahead of Minnesota 3-0. And remember, if that stays, it'll be a 3-way tie if the Lions win here in the NFC Central.
Hand off again to Sims. Picks up enough yardage for the first down and carries a couple of players with him. So Billy Sims is really starting to assert himself as Abraham again is in on the tackle, and it's enough yardage for the first down inside the 5-yard line.
Billy Sims obviously excited about today. Behind some good blocking, makes this cut right, bangs on through there. You know, you tend to think of Billy Sims, only 6 feet, about 212 pounds, as not having power. He is strong, and he showed it right there as he lowered his head to get that extra yard.
So it is 1st and 5 from the 5-yard line. As the Lions are threatening to take the lead, they trail right now 3-0 here in the opening moments of the second period. 2 tight ends for Detroit. Hand off to Sims, who dives high in the air trying to get over the goal line. However, he's just a little bit short.
And Bingham has the ball in his hand, trying to convince the referee that it was a fumble. It was amazing, Billy Sims. He took off from about the 5-yard line, hoping to launch himself in on a wave of his offensive lineman into the end zone. Take a look at this. Launching himself from about the 5, right here. Go up, 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 hoping to ride the wave into the end zone. No dice, but he's close.
Looks like a space shuttle there all of a sudden the way he took off.
Looks like a guided missile.
Yeah, 2nd and 1 from the 1-yard line. Sims already has 33 yards rushing so far this afternoon. Again, the handoff to Sims. Dives again. Touchdown. So Billy Sims gets it over himself.
This is important for Detroit because they were down 3-0. They have to get control of this game. Here Sims launches himself. A little bit of second effort right there over the goal line. You see the ball right on the goal line.
So the Detroit Lions score first here in the second period. After trailing 3-0, it's Billy Sims diving over from 1 yard out. And now Eddie Murray will attempt the point after. Murray has 61 total points so far this year. And the kick is good. So after trailing in the opening period 3-0, the Detroit Lions come back behind the running of Billy Sims. They now lead the Houston Oilers 7-3 here in the second period in the Astrodome.
Chuck Yeager for AC Delco.
In a high-performance fighter, we go from the griddle to more than 20 degrees below in just seconds. Well, here's an all-weather fighter for your car. The new Delco Freedom Dura Power battery. Hot or cold, it's got the starting power you can depend on. With a Freedom battery, you never need to add a drop of water.
Get a Delco Freedom battery starting at $39.95 for a 40 series. Call 800 AC Delco.
This is a Commodore home computer system. With it, you can learn music, take care of your household accounts, file your lists, type your letters, get into telecommunications, and entertain your family. But it all starts with the Commodore 64 or VIC-20. And now is the right time to start because the price of all Commodore software is now up to 50% less. Commodore computers, in more homes than any other home computer.
Monday on Emerald Point, Kay finds fulfillment with Glenn while Hillary's past comes back to haunt her.
I know what you like to do.
Scandalous tapes lead to blackmail. Monday.
Don't forget, coming up next on CBS, the second game of our NFL doubleheader featuring the Dallas Cowboys with the best record in the NFL at 9-1, taking on the San Diego Chargers with the NFL's best passing offense. That's coming up right here on CBS.
Well, isn't Dallas amazing? I mean, they were behind again for the 10th week in a row last week, and then they came back to beat Philadelphia.
Michael Black kicking off, squib kick for the Detroit Lions. Bounces its way all the way back to about the 10-yard line where Carl Roaches picks it up. Roaches, a little man, tries to drag a couple of men to him, with him rather, to the 15-yard line. Reese McCall, number 81, in on the tackle. So it will be 1st and 10 for the Houston Oilers at their own 23-yard line. A return of 12 yards, 12 minutes and 40 seconds left here in the second period. So with the score, Detroit 7, Houston 3. We'll be back in just a moment.
The beauty of a Delta faucet is, when it's on, it's on. And when it's off, it's off. Its washerless design helps keep it from dripping, so it lasts and lasts and lasts. Delta faucet. We're first because we last.
New typewriter, Miss Tompkins.
New typewriter, but I've got an IBM typewriter.
You, Miss Tompkins, 8th floor.
But I love my IBM. I depend on it.
Ah, but this one's got pages of memory and it can be upgraded.
But nothing else has the IBM Touch. Give somebody else that typewriter.
But this is an IBM, a new electronic IBM typewriter.
It takes an IBM typewriter to replace an IBM typewriter, the most preferred typewriter there is.
Why didn't you say so in the first place?
The Detroit Lions lead the Houston Oilers 7-3. I'm Jim Hill along with John Dockery. 1st and 10 for the Houston Oilers at their own 25-yard line. Oliver Luck back to pass. Looks right down the middle. Throws. Complete to number 89, Mike McCluskey. McCluskey is tackled there by Ken Fantetti, who's the leading tackler for the Lion defense, and Gary Cobb.
Actually, they're using two tight ends, McCluskey and Dressel, Chris Dressel. They're both rookies. McCluskey out of Penn State, and Dressel, who just caught that pass, the rookie out of Stanford, the number 3 draft choice. An easy pass to throw, the tight end over the middle. Again, high percentage passes for Oliver Luck.
And those are the kinds of passes that Stuckley wants to throw this afternoon. Campbell's back in the backfield now. Luck hands off to Campbell. Earl breaks through with great speed, picking up great yardage, enough for the first down up to around midfield at the Lion 47-yard line. So
excuse me, he looks like a runaway tractor trailer on I-80 right there. Boy, did he follow that surge. Interesting there, now they're using 2 backs to take a little of the pressure off Earl. Here you see the leading back right there, Moriarty. A good block. Earl cuts up the middle and then just leans forward with that big bod. First down, Earl Campbell.
A pickup of 13 yards. It's 1st and 10 for the Oilers at their own 46-yard line. 11:25 left here in the second period. Timmy Smith in motion. Luck tosses back to Campbell. Goes to his right. Picks up a couple of yards. Tackle at about the 48-yard line. Tackle made there by Gary Cobb.
It's an interesting contrast. We have 2 Heisman Trophy winners as you look at Earl Campbell, 9 rushes for 24 yards. Earl Campbell in 77. And then Billy Sims a couple of years later. Both unhappy in their situations. A lot of it to do with the frustration of not winning.
2nd and 8 from the 48. Luck play action pass. Looks to his left. Throws downfield. Diving attempt and a fine catch there by Chris Dressel. So Dressel, who caught a pass just a little while ago, came back and made another great catch, a diving catch here.
You wouldn't call it a classic completion with Oliver Luck rolling and throwing the ball off balance.
Let's go to New York and Brent Musburger.
Jim, here's the situation now in the big one, Green Bay and Minnesota. Watch Meade here score, and the Packers are dominating. The Vikes and the fans now are starting to boo up in Minnesota. Back to Jim.
All right, Brent, thank you very much. 10-0 the score there, 7-3 the score here. And of course, the Lions here are going to keep one eye on that scoreboard, and they hope that Green Bay can beat Minnesota, and they can win here, and there'll be a tie in the NFC Central Division. Oliver Luck back to pass. Looks to his right. Throws to his right. Another fine catch. This time by McCluskey. So the tight ends for the Houston Oilers are really starting to insert themselves as McCluskey comes up with a great catch, and it is enough for a Houston Oiler first down.
Oliver Luck put some mustard on that ball because actually Gary Cobb was covering McCluskey very well. Here Luck, not a classic drop back passer with a great arm, but here he put some steam on it, drills it in. McCluskey makes the catch. Cobb just misses it, number 53 right there, and it's good enough for a first down.
Good pass protection by the Oilers. 1st and 10 at the Lion 41-yard line. 9 minutes left here in the second period. Mike Renfro in motion for the Oilers. Hand off to Campbell. And he's caught by Jimmy Williams. Jimmy Williams, the second-year man from Nebraska, 6'2", 222. And as we all know about him, the Lion defensive coaches are really thrilled at the way he's been progressing as he's been in the league so far.
It's a question of enthusiasm. Watch Earl Campbell take the ball here. Williams finds a hole, meets Earl Campbell. He had no chance. And Williams is one of the reasons that Monty Clark told us that this team has turned around. Yes, they were 1-4 in the beginning of the year, and then they won 4 out of 5. Williams is one reason. The return of Billy Sims, a healthy Billy Sims, is the main other reason.
2nd and 14 from the 45-yard line for the Oilers. Campbell alone setback. Oliver Luck back to pass. There's a little pressure right down the middle. High for Renfro, and that's a very dangerous pass to throw right there.
Not only dangerous, he just overthrew the ball. Renfro went down about 20 yards and squared in front of the Detroit zone. Luck just overthrew him. The ball got away. He must have been feeling some pressure, thus the incompletion. But usually in that situation, Jim, as you know, that ball gets away. You overthrow a receiver. A lot of times the defensive back is standing back there for an interception.
Those are the stats on Luck so far this afternoon. 3rd and 14 from the Detroit Lion 45-yard line. 8 minutes and 14 seconds left here in the second period. Luck back in shotgun formation. 4 wide receivers in now for the Oilers. High snap. Luck throws to the far sidelines. Ball is knocked away there by Bobby Watkins, a second-year man from Southwest Texas State.
What a great reaction by Bobby Watkins. He led the team in interceptions, number 27, Bobby Watkins, with 5 in 82. He has 3 this year. He just made a great break on the ball. Oliver Luck made it easy for the defensive back because he looked all the way. He cocked his arm. He wound up. That gave Watkins time to react and break up the play.
So it is 4th and 14. John James is in to kick now for the Oilers. Kenneth Jenkins is back for the Lions to receive. Look at Jenkins' stats there for the year. Jenkins gets a high punt off, trying to angle out at the near sidelines. The ball hits on about the 1-yard line and goes into the end zone for a touchback. A punt of 45 yards. So with 7 minutes and 56 seconds left here in the second period, it's the Detroit Lions leading the Houston Oilers 7-3.
It takes guts to redesign one of the world's most popular cars. Introducing Toyota Corolla Reborn. This family sedan was reborn to please you with more comfort. Reborn to please your family with more room. Reborn to please anyone with its mileage and affordability. The 1984 front-wheel drive Toyota Corolla. Reborn to please the world.
I mortgaged my house to get my first tug. Believe me, the Jeannie T needed plenty of work.
Good night, Skipper.
Today, I own 2 others just like her. Because we give our customers a good, honest pull for the money, and that pays off. People who make Meisterbrow work the same way. These days, I can pick any beer I want. This tastes as good as Budweiser, and it doesn't cost as much. Gentlemen, the drinking lamp is lit.
Introducing Meisterbrow. Tastes as good as Budweiser at a better price.
Next Sunday here on CBS, a big game, the Detroit Lions against the Green Bay Packers, and it all starts at 12:30 Eastern time. Don't forget, you'll be able to see that game right here on CBS, and that game could also be a determining factor as to who will be in first place in the NFC Central Division. 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line for the Detroit Lions. They lead Oilers 7-3. Hipple play action pass, looks to his left, throws long downfield. And it's complete to Leonard Thompson. Leonard Thompson, the leading receiver for the Detroit Lions, comes up with enough yardage for the first down. And you know, it's kind of strange. You know, I remember you talked to Leonard yesterday, and he was talking about the coverage that he gets today. Oh, yes, he gets double covered an awful lot. That time, Leonard Thompson, with the great speed and he averages close to 20 yards of reception, just got Willie Tullis turned. He put on a burn move as though he was going downtown. Tullis turned, and then Thompson pulled up for the completion. That play good for 25 yards and a first down at the Lion 45-yard line. Mark Nichols in motion. Hipple tosses back to Sims, coming to the near sidelines. Good block by John James. And Sims is knocked out of bounds right at midfield by Bob Abraham. You're right, James Jones, a good block. The big fullback, he blocked Keith Bostic, the strong safety coming up here. Let's take a look at it. Now, what a mismatch. Number 30, James Jones, 6'2", 235 against defensive back number 25, Keith Bostic. He's only 212 pounds right there. That gives Sims some running room. He makes the best of it for about 5 yards. James, the rookie. James Jones, the rookie first-round draft choice from Florida. The key block that sprung Billy Sims. Now it's 2nd and 5 from midfield. The toss back to Sims again. Another good block by Jones. Flag is down on the field. Bob Abraham and Robert Brazil in on the tackle for the Oilers. Holding penalty against the Lions. You know, it's really strange how the Lions once again have been making all the mistakes penalty-wise. And that certainly short-circuits a drive. That time they ran the same play they ran before. If it works once, why not come back to it? And it did work again, except for the penalty. Let's listen to what it is.
Offensive holding, number 64, 2nd down.
Number 64, Larry Lee.
course, Larry Lee is in there for the injured Don Greco, is out with a leg injury, starting the third-year man out of UCLA.
2nd and 14 from the Lion 41-yard line. 7 minutes left here in the second period. Hipple back to pass, looks to his left, throws across the middle, complete to Billy Sims out of the backfield. Sims covered there by Avon Riley and Greg Bingham, and so Billy Sims comes out of the backfield. He's been catching the ball, he's been running the ball, and he talked about yesterday he wants to have a good game. That play was good for 12 yards, and it's 3rd down and 2.
And you see his career receptions. Billy Sims is an all-purpose weapon. He can come out of the backfield. Remember, in his rookie year, he caught 51 passes for almost 650 yards. So Billy Sims, not only a fine runner, but also an excellent pass receiver out of the backfield. So is James Jones, by the way. Just a new dimension in their offense with 2 backs who can catch the ball out of the backfield.
Jeff Chadwick checks into the ball game for Ulysses Norris. Chadwick in motion, tossed by Hipple, complete to James out of the backfield, gets away from one tackler, picks up enough yardage for the first down, down to the 30-yard line of the Houston Oilers.
Jim, when you gamble the way the Oilers did there, and you come with the blitz, the safety blitz, the linebacker blitzing, it puts a 1-on-1 situation with a back out of the backfield. And that time, James Jones made the catch, slipped away from the defender, and it's good enough for a first down. Watch this James Jones out of the backfield. Excellent pass receiver. Already caught 33 coming into this game. Here he makes a nice move right there. Okay, Bill Kay can't make the tackle. Finally, he's tackled from behind. James Jones, first down.
Pickup of 11 yards, 1st and 10 from the Oilers 30-yard line. Eric Hipple at quarterback. Billy Sims, the deep back, and the toss to Sims. Coming to the near sideline, cuts upfield, hurdles over a couple of people.
Oh my goodness, did you see that? He hit Steve Brown with what looked like a karate kick. He leaped into the, you think he's not ready to play football today. Billy Sims is exploding. Is he excited? Watch this. He'll leap and hit number 24, Steve Brown, with a foot right in the head, right? Bing, right there. It's as though he used his foot as a straight arm. Whew. Brown actually got up and amazes me.
Get out of the way, Steve Brown. Here comes Billy Sims.
He's launched. He's a rocket.
He says he likes to play here in Texas what he calls Mother Earth, and right now he's doing it. 1st and 10.
And he is on high-octane jet fuel today, Billy Sims.
Timeout on the field. 4 minutes and 45 seconds left here in the first half. Behind Billy Sims, it's the Lions leading the Oilers 7-3.
Who makes the best-selling radials in America? Goodyear. We outsell all foreign radials combined. One reason? The Goodyear Arriva. It gives you long tread life. And best of all season traction in the wet stuff and the white stuff. The Goodyear all-season Arriva. It's one reason Goodyear is the leader in radials. No foreign maker of radials even comes close. Goodyear, #1 in radials.
When the curtain goes up in a lot of places in Atlantic City, it may seem to be the same old song and dance.
Go get 'em, girls.
It's not that way at the Sands as Sergio Mendes brings his unique musical style to the Copper Room November 18th and 19th. When it comes to entertaining you, we don't play games.
NCAA basketball returns to CBS Sports as Larry Brown makes his Kansas coaching debut against last year's runner-up Houston in 2 weeks on CBS Sports.
4:45 left here in the second period. The Detroit Lions leading the Houston Oilers 7-3. Billy Sims 11 carries for 53 yards. Eric Hipple 5 of 7 for 82 yards. He's completed 5 in a row. Hipple tosses back to Jones this time. Jones doesn't get any blocking, and the Oilers come over to make the tackle. Bob Abraham, who's been very busy this afternoon, in on the tackle. All right, let's go to New York for an NFL update with Brent Musburger.
Jim, the Packers got a turnover on the 42. They marched down to the 5-yard line, and Dickey quickly hit John Jefferson. 17-0 now. The Packers are dominating the Vikes. Let's go back to Jim and John.
All right, Brent, thank you so very much. And you know what that means next week if the Detroit Lions can hold on and win this afternoon.
Showdown time. Ooh. Three-way tie if they win. The NFC.
2nd and 9 from the 16. Hipple back to pass, looking to his left, throws, intended for Leonard Thompson and knocked down by Willie Tellis.
Boy, Willie, and you were a defensive back. Boy, Willie made a good play on the ball. It's a question of whether he was there a split second early, but that's all you can do. You can't wait. The ball was just a quick slant into Leonard Thompson. Made a good play.
And one of the things about that is that you have to play the ball on that particular play. You can't play the man, because if you go after the man, you'll hit him instead of the ball and could end up with a pass interference call.
As you see, yes, exactly right. You see Houston Oilers sending in 4 players on their nickel defense.
3rd and 10 now from the Oilers 17-yard line. The Oilers lead, or the Oilers trail, I should say, 7-3. Hipple calling an audible, shotgun formation. Jeff Chadwick in motion. Looks to his right, gets hit as he throws, incomplete for Chadwick.
They felt in that situation against Houston's nickel that Jeff Chadwick, the free agent out of Grand Valley State, number 89, would have one-on-one coverage with Keith Bostic, and Hipple felt that he could get free. That time he was free. Hipple just didn't get the ball to him.
So it will be 4th and 10 from the 17-yard line. And the Detroit Lions are in a field goal situation now. Eddie Murray comes in with Hipple holding. The ball will be placed on the 25-yard line, so it will be a 35-yard field goal attempt. Murray's kick is good. So a field goal by Eddie Murray adds 3 more points up for the Lions. And here with 3 minutes and 48 seconds left in the second period, it's Detroit 10, the Houston Oilers 3.
Dan Gurney and his now even more powerful 1984 Toyota Supra take on the biggest challenge of all. Mrs. Gurney.
Go.
Dan is now showing her the response more horses have added to the twin overhead cam, 6-cylinder, electronically fuel-injected engine.
More horsepower.
The independent suspension, the 4-wheel disc brakes, the new leather sports seats.
Nice.
This is the right stuff. Toyota.
When you have an insurance claim, that's the moment of truth.
You want results as quickly as possible.
You don't want to call a stranger with a claim, and with State Farm you don't. You call your agent.
And State Farm claims people are there when you need them to make sure everything's handled fast and fair.
What makes State Farm Claim Service work so well is an agent who's available when you need help.
And people who follow through with your claim.
And like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
And here's some shocking news right now for Detroit Lion fans, as it looked like Eric Hipple is injured and may not come back in the game.
Now watching the left side of your screen, you'll see Hipple. Murray will reach down to talk to Hipple, and he must have been hit. It looked on the sidelines, and there's Gary Danielson warming up, of course, the backup quarterback. And Hipple looked like he might have gotten a hip pointer or hurt something. We'll try to keep you posted on Hipple's condition.
So Eric Hipple is in question right now. Mike Black set to kick off for the Detroit Lions. Squib kick that goes out of bounds, and the flag is on the play. So the ball goes out of bounds. It'll be a 5-yard penalty against Detroit. Into the end zone. He was rushed pretty heavily there by a safety blitz, and he had a lot of contact on him, so he may have gotten injured there.
Hipple is one of those tough, hard-nosed quarterbacks. A lot of times you think of quarterbacks as kind of being fragile characters. Hipple isn't like that. He played a lot of games early in the year with an injured ankle, having it taped heavily. So if Hipple can play, I think we'll see him back in there. Although certainly Gary Danielson is an experienced, capable backup quarterback.
So after the 5-yard penalty, Black will now try and kick off from the 30-yard line. This time it stays in bounds right down the middle of the field. Steve Brown takes it about the 16-yard line. Breaks a couple of tackles, comes to the near sideline. Steve Brown tackled there by Robbie Martin after a nice return, and it will be 1st and 10 for the Houston Oilers at their own 43-yard line. So here with 3:34 left in the second period, it's the Detroit Lions leading the Houston Oilers. The score is 10-3.
The truck world has just been turned upside down. Introducing the 1984 Toyotas, the next generation of Toyota trucks, the best-looking Toyotas ever. With a new extra cab, the roomiest Toyota ever. And with this SR5, the most powerful Toyota ever, thanks to the first-of-its-kind electronic fuel injection. The truck world will never be the same.
Oh, what a feeling, Toyota.
a Christmas gift from Radio Shack.
I was having a problem finding gifts, but then I found this one-piece all-electronic phone at Radio Shack, on sale $19.95. It has auto-redial, an electronic ringer, a 16-foot cord, and it hangs up when you put it down. It was such a fabulous gift, I decided to treat myself. This one's for the kitchen, the bedroom, the bathroom, the hall, the upstairs bathroom.
The one-piece personal phone, on sale $19.95, only at Radio Shack.
Chiefs, a southern town that grew because of one man's devotion. But beyond their American dream lies the terrifying mystery of Chiefs, tonight on CBS.
3 minutes and 34 seconds left here in the first half. 1st and 10 for the Houston Oilers at their own 44-yard line. 3 wide receivers in now for Houston. Earl Campbell is a lone setback. The Oilers certainly would like to get another drive going here. They trail 10-3. Luck back to pass. Looks for Campbell out of the backfield, and he makes a catch. And a good shoestring tackle there by William Graham.
He had both tight ends hooking up over the middle. They were open. Had he gotten the ball to them, he would have gotten a little more yardage. He's obviously looking for Campbell out of the backfield on the safe, high-percentage passes.
So that's one of the things that the Oilers, I think, can really look for, because Earl has only caught 10 passes coming into today's game, and he gets out into the flat. If he can get the ball in decent shape and hit upfield, he could come up with a lot of yardage.
He certainly puts fear into defensive backs when they see this truck running away down the field and they have to tackle him.
2nd and 9 from the 45. Campbell the lone setback. Dressel in motion. Luck back to pass. Looks to the near sidelines. Throws. Wobbly pass, but it is complete. Complete to Mike Renfro. Renfro knocked out of bounds there by number 34, Dan Wagner.
Actually, Oliver Luck does a heck of a job to get away from Bill Gay right here. Watch him coming on the outside. A lot of pressure. Doug France is having his hands full. Here he steps up. Gay gets a hand on him. A completion to Renfro, who made a good adjustment on the ball. He came back and made the completion for the first down.
Pickup of 16 yards. 1st and 10 from the 39-yard line. 2 minutes, 15 seconds left now in the first half. 3 wide receivers in the ball game for the Oilers. Campbell alone setback. Renfro in motion. Luck back to pass. Throws to the near sidelines, complete to Renfro. And Renfro is tackled there by Bruce McNorton. So
one of the problems here in Houston, of course, has been the quarterback situation. They started the year with Archie Manning. They came to Gifford Nielsen, and now last week in the second quarter, they went to Oliver Luck, figuring at least a change of face may help this team. They need something to inspire them. They've been anemic offensively all year long.
So the 2-minute warning is being given on the field now. 1 minute 57 seconds left here in the first half. With the score, the Detroit Lions leading the Houston Oilers 10-3.
When I first bought this ranch, I could work it with 1 horse. The place has grown a little since then. And along the way, I learned something. If you sell a man good steers at a fair price, you're gonna do okay. The people that make Meister Brau beer must have gone to the same school I did. They got a beer here that tastes just as good as Budweiser. They sure do. It just doesn't cost as much. It sure don't. I got a hunch. Those boys are gonna do okay, too.
Introducing Meister Brau. Tastes as good as Budweiser at a better price.
It takes guts to redesign one of the world's most popular cars. Introducing Toyota Corolla, reborn. This sport liftback was reborn to please you with its balanced handling. Reborn to please your friends with its surprising performance. Reborn to please anyone with its low Toyota price. The 1984 Toyota Corolla Sport Liftback. Reborn to please the world.
There's a look at Eric Hipple, who has completed 5 of 9 passes for 82 yards. Looked like he was injured, but right now it seems like he's okay. We'll just see exactly how he will progress the rest of the afternoon. 2nd and 6 from the 35-yard line of the Detroit Lions. Look back to pass. Feels a little pressure. Spins to his right. Throws back a screen to Campbell on the left side. A couple of good blocks, and here goes Earl. Campbell down At about the 15-yard line, the tackle there made by Alvin Hall. Good blocks up front by Harvey Salem and Bruce Matthews.
He makes this work by sprinting away. The defense comes. William Gay totally buys it. Earl Campbell gets the ball, makes a good cut back. Watch right here. So he gets some good blocking out front, cuts back, and then turns on speed right there to run away from the defensive backs and get good yardage. And then you heard the roar from the fans. Earl Campbell has never been booed in Houston. Pickup of 18 yards, 1st and 10 from the 14. Look, hands off to Campbell. Those are a couple of good blocks. However, those aggressive linebackers from the Detroit Lions, number 57, Ken Fantetti, comes over and makes a tackle. There was some speculation. The reason I mentioned that, the great cheers from the crowd, of course, they've had little to cheer about with an 0-10 team, a team that hasn't won in 17 outings. But Earl Campbell, after the last game, Jim said he wanted out of Houston. He wanted to be traded. There was talk of him going to the new league. He said no foundation to that whatsoever. And there was speculation that he might be booed here this afternoon. No way. He's Earl Campbell. People appreciate him. Not with efforts like that. So the timeout on the field. The Houston Oilers have called timeout. 54 seconds left here in the first half as the Houston Oilers are threatening, but they trail 10-3.
Her name is Deborah Crowder. She's a single parent with 2 children. Without job skills, her chances of being more than just another welfare statistic are 0.
But she's beating the odds. I'm James Lofton of the Green Bay Packers, here to thank you for giving Deborah and her children the chance in life that she needs.
Here in Milwaukee and all across the country, through your support of United Way, the Urban League is giving people like Deborah the training and guidance they need. Today, with government programs being cut back or eliminated, the critical need for job training and employment opportunities is a basic necessity for many of the people in our communities.
So, you're helping people who want to help themselves when you support the Urban League through your One United Way contribution. So that's why I can say thanks, because thanks to you, it works.
For all of us, the United Way. Give me a kiss.
The preceding message was brought to you by the National Football League. 2nd and 9 from the Detroit 13-yard line. The Houston Oilers behind Earl Campbell, who is responding to controversy, are threatening to tie the game up. Campbell is a lone setback. 3 receivers to the near side. Oliver Luck at quarterback. Dressel in motion. Luck back to pass. Throws to the right. And all along in the end zone. Mike McCluskey all alone in the end zone for a Houston Oilers touchdown. He just found that hole in the zone, put it in there for the touchdown. Mike McCluskey makes the reception. He's open. And we're just about to have a tie game here in Houston if the extra point is made. Good Oliver Luck, a controlled passing game. Comfortable, gaining his confidence. A shot in the arm that the Oilers needed. 13-yard touchdown pass. And now Florian Kemp is in the ball game to attempt and tie it up. John James holding. The crowd reaction told you the story. So after a touchdown pass by Oliver Luck, the game is all tied. 50 seconds left here remaining in the first half. The Houston Oilers have come back to tie the game against the Detroit Lions. The score is 10-10. You know, we were talking a little earlier, John, about how the Oilers wanted to really get something out of their opening possession. But it is kind of strange, and the fans are starting to respond, as I think this is really the first time in a long time they've had a lot to cheer about. And I think this is the first time in a long time where the Oilers have had a competent offensive and defensive attack. Exactly. They've been inconsistent on both sides. They're in the bottom half in most categories in the NFL. And the fans last week, Jim, there were signs around here like EB phone home, Eddie Biles, or bum call collect. Today the fans are happy, they're excited, and they have something to cheer about. Oliver Luck is moving his team. Earl Campbell is responding to the pressure. That was a nice drive, a consistent drive. 6 plays, 56 yards. Finally, the 13-yard pass for the touchdown to McCluskey. So with 50 seconds left in the first half, It's a tie ball game. Ken Jenkins is back to receive for the Detroit Lions, and the kickoff comes to him at the 5. Jenkins gets to the outside. Penalty flag thrown, and he's tackled there by number 24, Steve Brown. So let's wait for the call from referee Frederick. There it is. Holding against the Detroit Lions. The fans cheer that. But the fans up in the great state of Michigan are probably relieved to hear that Eric Hipple has come back in the ball game.
There was holding by number 51 on the kick return team. First down.
You know, it's interesting. You mentioned Eric Hipple. He is healthy. He's had those ankle problems. And talking to him last night, you could see in the hotel right before the 9:30 meeting that he was really excited. He was almost wired because I think they sense they have something going in Detroit. That playoff spot shot is what's motivating them now.
And they want to get going now with 42 seconds left in the first half. Hipple in shotgun formation. Throws to his right. Complete to Leonard Thompson. Thompson up to the 30-yard line. Goes out of bounds at about the 39-yard line, tackled there by Steve Brown.
And you have to respond to an offense that realizes they have that much time. There's 32 seconds left. They go to the air. They get it to their big play receiver, Leonard Thompson. Great speed. Take a look at Hipple here. Thompson comes across the middle, and what a great move he puts on Willie Tullis. Watch him running right here. See if we can get a look at it. Fakes inside, breaks outside, freezes Tullis in his tracks, and gets out of bounds on top of that so they don't waste a timeout. Good play by Leonard Thompson.
A pickup of 23 yards, first and 10 from their own 39-yard line. Hipple again in shotgun formation. Throws deep down the middle. Intended for Leonard Thompson, or intended, I should say, for Jeff Chadwick, number 89. Keith Bostic, number 25, defending on the play.
And there was some bumping going on as we take a look at what's happening at halftime. Brent and Irv with scores and highlights. Legends of the game. What a tandem, Lincoln and Lowe. Well, you remember Keith Lincoln and Paul Lowe?
Oh, I certainly do. I remembered when I first started playing, I played with Paul Lowe, and Keith Lincoln came back to the San Diego Chargers from Buffalo, and they're two fine gentlemen and a great running back tandem. Second and 10 from the 39. Hipple in shotgun formation. Here's Leonard Thompson again. Good moves up to about the 40-yard line, and it should be enough yardage for the first down. Timeout on the field by Detroit. Carter Hartwick in on the tackle for the Houston Oilers.
And you talk about those two, Lincoln and Lowe. We have here in the Detroit Lions the potential for a great tandem in Billy Sims and James Jones. And I mean, you think of all the great ones. Lincoln and Lowe back in 1963, they led the Chargers to the AFL championship, and they had over 2,000 yards combined rushing. That was in a 14-game season. Terrific tandem. I mean, you usually think of guys like, you know, Zonka and Kick, Taylor and Horning, but Lincoln and Lowe, they're in that kind of category. We'll see them at halftime.
In a class all by themselves. 17 seconds. Monty Clark on the sidelines there talking to Eric Hipple.
It's interesting now, Jim, what do you do with 17 seconds left? Okay, you have the ball first and 10 around the 50-yard line. Do you go for it all, or do you go for a field goal situation? I think Eric Hipple and Monty Clark will decide to try to get in field goal range, although they might have to get a little closer because Eddie Murray has that injured leg, that injured thigh, so it changes their thinking a little bit. They'll have to get in a little closer, or it might tempt them to even go way downtown for the touchdown with Leonard Thompson, their game breaker.
I agree with you also. Another reason why the Lions have one timeout left, so they can stop the clock as soon as they make a completion. So it's first and 10 at midfield for the Lions. Hipple in shotgun formation. And he's back to pass. Throws to his left. Complete to Billy Sims out of the backfield. Enough yardage for the first down, and the Lions immediately call timeout with 10 seconds left.
Now with 10 seconds left, there's plenty of time for one more play, provided you can get out of bounds. So their choices come down to basically two. Throw to the sidelines and try to get a little closer for Eddie Murray. This would be a 55-yard field goal with an injured leg. I think it's just about impossible. Or your other option is to fake going outside, go downtown, and try to get the touchdown. Of course, they have guys that can. Leonard Thompson, of course, number 39, is the big play man, but we've seen Ulysses Norris, a tight end, also 6'5". He can go up and get the ball if needs be.
And don't forget, coming up next on CBS Sports, the second game of our NFL doubleheader, featuring the Dallas Cowboys with the best record in the NFL at 9-1, taking on the San Diego Chargers with the NFL's best passing offense. That's coming up right here on CBS.
And look at next Sunday, the big one. If the Detroit Lions win today and Green Bay continues the way they are out in Minnesota, we're going to have a three-way tie in the NFC Central. Of course, Detroit has their hands full right now with the Houston Oilers score tied 10-10. 10 seconds left. Monty Clark trying to figure out how to put some points on the board. No timeouts left.
And the Lions had better not keep one eye on the scoreboard and one eye on the Oilers, because they'll get the one eye on the Oilers poked out if they aren't careful.
You got to take care of business. And that's what Monty was worried about. Remember, he said we have to have the desire to win, also the desire to prepare to win. Keep our mind on what we're doing. Concentration, alertness.
That's even more important. The desire to prepare to win. 1st and 10. The Oilers 40-yard line. Hipple in shotgun formation. Throws deep down to his left. Activated by Willie Tellis. The pass intended for Leonard Thompson, and Tellis made a great defensive play, coming up, knocking the ball away, and almost picking it off.
It was a good idea. The execution was poor, but Leonard Thompson ran a post into the middle. Tellis didn't completely buy it, and then Thompson came back out to the sideline so that if he did catch the ball, he could run out of bounds and stop the clock. They'd try a field goal, but Tellis made a good reaction on the ball. Hipple didn't have much zip on that one.
Hung it up there just a little bit. Hipple so far this afternoon, 8 of 13 for 127 yards.
With 3 seconds left, Jim, you have to figure they're going to go downtown for the Hail Mary pass. Jeff Chadwick, number 89, is 6'4". He's a good idea. So is Leonard Thompson, a good one. They're going to send 3 receivers
to the near side. Here it comes. Deep into the end zone. And intercepted there by number 25, Keith Bostic. So Keith Bostic comes up with an interception as the Lions try to get a score here at the end of the first half. However, they fail. The fans are cheering. The score is tied. Houston 10, Detroit 10.